sound off for Chesterfield. Chesterfield, the only cigarette in America to give you premium quality in both regular and king size, brings you Dragnet.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to robbery detail. For the past 6 months, the managers of large markets in your city have been the victims of a hold-up man. You thought you had the suspect in custody. You were wrong. Your job, get him. There's only one premium quality cigarette in America available in both regular and king size, and that is Chesterfield.
Premium quality in a cigarette means the world's best tobaccos, the best ingredients, the best cigarette paper. Only Chesterfield gives you this premium quality in both popular sizes.
King-size Chesterfield contains tobaccos of better quality and higher price than any other king-size cigarette. That's certainly important to every king-size smoker. Of course, it's the same fine tobacco as in regular Chesterfield. There is absolutely no difference, except that king-size Chesterfield is larger. Contains so much more of these premium quality tobaccos that you get more than a fifth longer smoke from king-size Chesterfield.
Yes, the modern way to sell cigarettes is the Chesterfield way. Premium quality, both regular and king size.
And either way you like 'em, Chesterfields are much milder. Chesterfield is best for you.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Saturday, March 22nd. It was cold in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Didion. My name's Friday. We were on our way out from the office, and it was 9:36 a.m. when we got to 4623 Linwood, bakery shop.
Yes, sir. Can I help you?
Police officers, ma'am.
Oh, yes, you want to see Mr. Jenkins. He's in the back. Right through that door.
Thank you, ma'am. How is Mr. Jenkins?
Well, he's all right. Got a bad cut on his head. The ambulance was here.
Uh-huh. Do you know if there are any witnesses?
I don't know. The other officers are checking it now, I guess.
Mm-hmm. About how long have they been here?
I'd say 10 minutes.
All right, ma'am. Thank you.
Who is it?
Police officer, sir. My name's Friday. This is my partner, Frank Smith.
Oh, what happened to the other officer?
Well, he left, Mr. Jenkins. A couple of questions we'd like to ask you about this.
Yeah, sure. Pull up that chair there.
Thanks very much.
Yeah.
You feel all right, sir?
Yeah, headaches a little, but I feel okay. Guy from the ambulance said I should see my own doctor. I don't know when I'm going to get time to do that. It's nothing serious, a little cut.
Yes, sir. Would you tell us just what happened here?
Yeah, sure, there's not much to it. Where do you want me to start?
Well, what time did the man come in?
Oh, I see. It must have been about 6:30 this morning. I was just frying the donuts. I heard this knock on the back door, and I let him in.
What did he look like, sir?
Well, just like the descriptions in the paper. That's how I knew it was the Black Masked Bandit. Had the overcoat on, the hat, and the mask on his face.
Was he carrying a gun?
Yeah, it looked like a .38 revolver, long barrel.
Mm-hmm. What happened then?
Well, at first I couldn't figure it. You know, I'd read in the paper where he was robbing markets. I couldn't figure what he was doing in a bakery.
He was alone then, huh?
Yeah, at least I couldn't see anybody with him.
All right, go ahead, sir.
Well, he came in and sat down, told me to go ahead with what I was doing. Sat right over there in that chair.
Mm-hmm.
Leaned back against the wall and just talked.
What did he talk about, do you remember?
Just that, nothing special. Then he asked me to hand him one of the donuts I'd finished. Said he wanted one of the chocolate ones. I gave it to him. He just leaned back and ate it.
I see.
I asked him what he wanted. Why the gun, you know?
Yes?
He said he didn't want me to get any bright ideas. And he asked me how much money I had.
Yeah.
I told him I only had about $150, and he said that wasn't much. I said it wasn't, but it's all I had. And then I asked him if he was going to rob me.
What did he say to that?
He said he probably would.
Mm-hmm. All this time, did he keep the mask on?
Yeah, he never took it off.
How long was he here?
Well, he got here, like I said, at 6:30. He left about 8:15, just before Vera came in. She's the one who found me.
Vera?
Yeah, she's the girl who takes care of the store. You probably saw her out front when you came in.
Oh, yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Well, I finished up with the donuts, and then I asked him if he'd like a drink. I said I had some brandy locked up. I asked him if he'd like a shot.
Mm-hmm.
He said he would. I went over to get it. I keep it over there in that cupboard. And when I walked over, I had to walk right in front of him.
Yeah.
Well, you probably know it gets pretty hot in a bakery, the ovens and all. I guess he was kind of relaxed.
Yeah.
Well, when I walked by him, I grabbed his gun, took it right out of his hands, and he jumped up and told me to hand it over to him, said for me to give it back and I wouldn't get hurt. And I told him he had the shoe on the wrong foot, that I was calling things now.
Yes, sir. What'd you do then?
Well, if I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, if it hadn't happened to me, I'd never believe it.
What's that?
When I took the gun away from him, he looked real surprised. That's when I told him that I was the boss, and he just stood up and started to walk toward me. I told him to stop. I pointed the gun at him, told him to stay where he was.
Yeah?
But he didn't stop. He kept coming right at me. I told him again, but he kept right on walking. And then I fired at him. Well, it wasn't any farther away from him than 10, maybe 15 feet. Didn't hit him, so I pulled the trigger again. Shot right at him 6 times. Right at him. He just kept walking at me. Now, at first, I thought the shells in the gun were blanks. And then I could see where the bullets were hitting. Well, there, you can see a couple of them in the wall. I couldn't believe my eyes. I missed him every time.
What did he do right after you shot at him?
When I fired the last shot, the gun clicked a couple of times. He just stopped and laughed. He said that I'd run out of bullets and that I'd better give the gun to him.
Did you?
Yeah, I threw it at him as hard as I could. I missed him then, too. The gun hit the floor, and I could see the sparks fly, and then he picked it up and came after me. I didn't think I'd be in much trouble. He looked so little. But when he grabbed at me, I knew I'd had it. That man had hands like a vice.
Mm-hmm.
He grabbed my arm and hit me on the head right here. He knocked me out. He came to, and Vera came in. The guy was gone, so was the money.
Well, where'd you keep this money?
In my pocket. I had it in my wallet. I don't usually put it in the cash register until Vera gets in.
I see. Now, you said that when the gun hit the floor, you saw the sparks fly from it. Is that right?
Yeah, you know, like when you hit a piece of flint with another rock, like the Boy Scouts.
Yeah.
You know, like that.
Did you notice that the gun seemed damaged in any way?
No, I didn't have time to notice anything. Right after that, he hit me.
Uh-huh. I wonder if you'd give us a description of the man.
Well, sure, like I told the other officers, he was a little man, real old.
How old would you say?
Oh, maybe 50 or so, not any younger.
You're pretty sure about that, are you?
Yeah,
About how tall?
maybe 5'2", not any more than that. Kind of hard to tell with that big coat on. It looked like it was 5 or 6 sizes too big. It looked kind of funny at first, then you realized who he was, and it wasn't funny anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't too scared of him when I first saw him, even when he came at me, but when he grabbed my arm, I knew I had trouble.
Yes, sir.
Still can't understand it. 6 shots, and I didn't hit him once. I tell you, the guy's not human.
Well, he's scoring pretty good for a ghost. 10:02 a.m. The crew from the crime lab came out and went over the bakery. Ray Pinker removed the slugs from the wall and the floor and took them back to the lab. The bandit, as usual, had worn gloves, so there was no possibility for fingerprints. A search of the neighborhood failed to turn up any new leads. None of the people in the immediate area had seen anyone answering the description of the Black Mask Bandit. Additional supplementary bulletins were gotten out, and all of the cars in the surrounding vicinity were alerted. The stats office had made run after run on the M.O. of the bandit. The leads they gave us were all checked out. All gunsmiths were alerted in the event that the suspect's weapon had been damaged and that he might try to have it repaired. All leads were checked and rechecked. They netted us nothing. Informants were questioned and re-questioned. The plan that had been worked out for checking with the managers of the supermarkets in the city was continued. 3 weeks passed. The bandit hit again, this time a market just outside of Eagle Rock. The M.O. was the same as had been used in the previous robberies. However, in this one instance, the market didn't have a storage refrigerator, so the thief locked the manager in a back room. In locking the door, the suspect had taken off his gloves, and Leighton Prince was able to lift a partial print from the doorknob. It wasn't enough for classification, but Bergman said that if we apprehended the man, he'd be able to identify him for us. June came and went. July, August. The bandit had been operating without interference for almost a year. He'd widened his theater of operations. Reports had come in from San Francisco to Stockton, from San Diego to Pomona. In each case, the suspect seemed to know what markets were being staked out, and he stayed away from them. The legwork continued without result. Tuesday, August 19th. Frank and I checked back into the office.
Man, I never see it to fail. Every time we have lunch at Sal's, I eat too much.
Yeah, he puts out a good lunch, doesn't he?
Too good.
Want to check the book?
Right.
Anything?
A call from Jerry.
Informant?
Yeah. Says he can't get with me tonight. He'll call in the morning.
Friday, Smith?
Yeah, Skipper.
Yeah.
Come on in here, will you?
Right away.
Sit down.
All right. Well, what is it?
You guys been on this Black Mask thing how long now?
Well, it's going on a year, isn't it?
You're no closer to him than you were when you started.
Not much.
You know you're tying up half the men at Metro. You got this town covered like a blanket, and you still can't turn the guy.
We're doing everything we can, Skipper.
I've been telling you for the last 6 months that I wasn't going to buy that anymore. I mean it this time. Now, just exactly what have you got on the guy?
I think you know it just as well as we do, Skipper. Description, M.O., even the partial print Bergman lifted from that place out in Eagle Rock. We've been over it 100 times. There's a lead that we haven't run out and then checked over again.
Nothing new on the information from Folsom?
No, nothing. We've had 5,000 circulars printed. They're scattered all over the country. Doesn't look like the guy's ever done time before. The way he works, you'd think he knew exactly what we were doing. We cover the markets, he hits the bakeries. We cover the bakeries in L.A., he hits in San Diego. They cover the stores, then he hits up north. Where we are, he ain't.
How about the car, the Ford?
No, nothing. We got no license.
You ever hear anything on the damaged gun?
No, he never tried to have it fixed that we can find out about. He's gotten a hold of another gun someplace. Latest reports say he's using a revolver with a 2-inch barrel.
Well, where do you stand now?
I don't know. We got every store from La Cienega to Alameda covered. From Hollywood Boulevard south to Jefferson.
Big area.
Yeah, it's a lot of stores, too. There's a cruiser car or a cop in or near every large store and bakery in that area. Every police unit in the city's looking for the guy. If he hits again, we should get him.
Hey, Friday?
Yeah, Murph.
A call just came in from Wilshire. Figure you want it. Here you go.
Thanks.
What is it?
Yeah, we got the whole town waiting for him with open arms. Everything's set, and he pulls a switch.
What is it, Friday?
A black masked bandit. He's going in for kidnapping now. The local broadcast stated that the manager of one of the big supermarket chains in the city had been taken from his home about 2:30 in the morning. The bandit forced him to drive to the store and open the safe. The thief then bound the manager and left the premises. The manager gave us a complete description of the bandit, and locals and APBs were gotten out on him. In this instance, the thief didn't use his own car. He forced the manager to drive his car to the market. The manager told us that when they'd left the house, he hadn't seen any other cars on the streets. Tuesday, August 19th, 5:20 p.m. Frank and I got in touch with Lieutenant Dick Tiernan of the Sheriff's Robbery Squad. Together with him, we worked out a plan to try to keep the homes of the managers under surveillance. In addition to this, men from the Sheriff's Department aided in canvassing the houses of the owners and managers. Each car was assigned 3 houses, while other cars covered 3 markets each. A month passed. The Black Mask Bandit hit 5 times, each time in areas which were not under direct surveillance. Friday, September 26, 5:20 a.m., we got a call at home that there had been another kidnapping, this time an elderly market manager and his wife. Frank and I drove out to see them. The radio unit had returned them to their home.
Yes?
Mr. Gunther?
That's right.
Police officers, Mr. Gunther.
Oh, yes. Come in. You have some sort of identification?
Yes, sir. Here's my ID card. My name's Friday. This is my partner, Frank Smith.
How do you do?
Mr. Gunther.
Come into the living room, won't you?
Thank you very much, sir.
Sit down. Hope you didn't mind my asking about your identification. Just the way things have been happening, you can't be too sure.
Yes, sir. We understand. Now, I wonder if you'd mind telling us what happened.
Sure. Awful thing. Awful. Just can't believe that a man his age would do a thing like this. Seems that he'd know not to be so cruel.
Yes, sir. Just what did happen?
Well, last night, must have been about 2 or 2:30, I woke up with this flashlight shining in my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
First, I didn't know what it was. Just this real bright light, you know.
Yes, sir.
Well, right away, of course, I knew there was somebody else in the room. About that time, Agnes woke up. Agnes is my wife.
Yes, sir.
Anyway, she woke up, wanted to know what was going on. I told her I didn't know. All this time, that light didn't move. Just stayed in one place and shone right in my eyes.
Yes, sir.
Then we heard this voice tell us to get out of bed. Said he wanted me to go with him. I told him to get out of the house, that I didn't want any trouble. If he wanted money, he'd find all we had in the house right on the dresser with my wallet.
Mm-hmm. Could you see who the person was, sir?
No, not then. The light and all. But I got out of bed, and then I could see a little old man with a black mask over his eyes.
How could you tell his age, sir?
Well, just could, that's all. Little beady eyes, and his mouth mean. Never saw a mouth like that on a young man. His voice was old, I could tell.
Yes, sir.
Well, he told me to get dressed, said that I should hurry up about it.
Was he armed? Could you tell that?
Yes, I could see it. He was holding a gun. All this time, Agnes was yelling at him to get out of the house. She's not well, you know.
Yes, sir.
Agnes, she has a bad heart.
Uh-huh.
Been with a doctor for years, takes pills and medicine. That's the big reason that I did what he said. I didn't want there to be any trouble to get Agnes excited.
I understand.
Well, finally I told him if he'd get out of the room and leave her alone, I'd do what he wanted. Not to give him any cause to hurt anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Then he did about the meanest thing he could have done. Told Agnes to get out of bed. Said for her to get up and get dressed and go with us. Just can't understand why he'd want to do a thing like that. Just plain meanness.
Yes, sir. Did your wife do what he said?
Well, at first she said she wouldn't do it. Really told him off. I thought he'd maybe get mad and hit her. He was mean enough to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, finally, I asked her to do what he wanted. Figured that'd be the easiest way of getting him out of the place. I thought that maybe I could talk him out of taking her with us, but I couldn't.
He made you leave the house then?
Yeah, told me to get the car out of the garage, and then he and Agnes get in the back seat. Made me drive down to the store.
Did you notice any other cars in the area? Any cars parked near your house that weren't usually there?
No. On the way to the store, though, I saw a police car. I thought about trying to attract their attention. He must have thought about it, too, though.
Why'd he say that?
Well, he told me that if I did anything to call attention to us, he'd kill Agnes. I think he would have, too. I didn't do anything to get him upset.
Yes, sir.
Well, we got to the market, and he made me open the safe, and then he took the money and tied us up. I begged him not to tie Agnes. I've never done that before, Sergeant. I'm 52, and I've never begged a man for anything, but I did this time. Begged him not to kill Agnes. I knew that if he tied her up like he said he was going to, it'd kill her. Pleaded with him, but it didn't do any good. Tied her up and put that tape over her mouth. One thing I can say for him, though, just one. He called the police and told them where we were. If he hadn't done that, I think we'd have both died. Agnes almost suffocated.
Where's your wife now, Mr. Gunther?
In the other room. Doctor's with her. He gave her a sedative. Awful thing, Sergeant. I just don't know how anyone could be that mean.
No, just one reason we can think of.
What's that?
He's had a lot of practice. 11:30 a.m. We talked to Mrs. Gunther. She told us pretty much the same story that we'd gotten from her husband. The police car in the area was contacted, but they reported that they hadn't noticed the Gunther car. The unit that was patrolling the area around the store was contacted. They reported that they had checked the store at 3:15 a.m. At that time, there were no lights and no suspicious cars in the vicinity. The Black Masked Bandit had been working for over a year. In that time, he'd robbed 59 stores that we knew of. His theater of operations had taken him from Northern California right down to the Mexican border, from the desert to the beach. He'd stolen approximately $500,000. The entire nation had received communications carrying the description of the suspect. The entire facilities of the police and sheriff's departments in Los Angeles were devoted to apprehending him. Thousands of man-hours had gone into stakeouts and searches. None of them produced any results. As the case grew in importance, robbery detail began to get an average of 30 calls a day from well-meaning citizens with information. Every lead, no matter how remote, had to be checked out. This meant more hours of legwork and interrogation. Every officer in the Southland was looking for the bandit. Every car and motorcycle on the streets had his description. None of it did any good. Thursday, October 2nd, 11:05 p.m. Frank and I checked back into the office.
Well, there's another one that didn't go anyplace.
Yeah, you want to fill out the reports? I'll check the book.
Yeah. Never fails, does it, Joe?
What's that?
Oh, something like this one comes along. Some people use it to get back at their neighbors. Take that deal tonight. Pretty silly, huh? I'd like to know who gave us that tip. There's something kind of sneaky about anonymous phone calls.
Well, we'd miss a lot of breaks if we didn't get them.
Yeah. You figure we're ever going to nail this guy?
Who knows? I'm getting a little punchy.
Every time we miss him, we get another pasting. Have you read the papers lately?
Well, you got to expect that, Frank. They're probably calling it the way it looks to them. There's only one way to answer him. That's to nail the guy. I'll get it. Robbery Friday. Yeah, that's... What's that? Can you speak a little louder? I can't hear. That's better. What? Uh-huh. When did this happen? Yeah. What's the address out there? Yeah, the street. Now, give me the number. That's right. All right, you bet. We'll take care of it. Right. Bye. Looks like something here. Market manager's son.
Yeah?
Says someone's just kidnapped his father.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action.
The modern way to sell cigarettes is the Chesterfield way. Premium quality in both regular and king size. And we're the only one that does it. We tell you what Chesterfields are made of to give you that premium quality in both popular sizes. Our scientists select the best materials. They select for Chesterfield the world's best tobaccos, blend them just right, and they keep Chesterfields tasty and fresh with the best of moistening agents. Now, here's something else that's completely modern about Chesterfield. People smoke Chesterfield, and we tell you what happens, scientifically but simply.
A medical specialist is making regular bi-monthly examinations of a group of people from various walks of life. 45% of this group have smoked Chesterfield for an average of over 10 years. After 8 months, the medical specialist reports that he observed no adverse effects on the nose, throat, and sinuses of the group from smoking Chesterfield.
I'd say that means real mildness. And finally, we ask you to try Chesterfield and prove what we say. Chesterfield is best for you. They're much milder to give you all the pleasure that the modern cigarette can give.
11:23 p.m. Frank and I checked the manager's name on the list. We got the address, and 7 minutes later, we pulled up in front of the store. In the rear of the store, we could see 2 men. One was dressed in a bathrobe, the other in a large overcoat with a brown hat pulled down over his eyes. Parked in front of the store was a dark blue 1951 Lincoln. We checked the car and found that it bore the registration of Donald Anderson, the manager. Frank went around to the rear door of the market, and I covered the front entrance. We waited. At 11:42 p.m., the bandits started for the front door. All right, mister, police officer, hold it up there. Come on, drop the gun. Give it up.
Cop, get out of here!
Frank, cover the other side of the building.
He's going for that fence, Joe.
All right, come on, mister, give it up.
You all right, Joe?
Yeah, come on, let's get over this fence. All right.
He's not over here.
No, we missed him. He must have got over that wall. I'll get back to the car and notify the radio units.
All right. You think you hit him?
I don't know. I might have.
Well, let's check the ground by the fence.
You got your flashlight?
Yeah, here it is. Hold it, Joe.
Yeah?
Here. See? By the fence.
Oh, yeah. Bloodstains, quite a few of them.
I'll stay here and check.
Okay, I'll be right back. Watch yourself.
Yeah.
Unit 1K80 to Control 1. Unit 1K80 to Control 1.
Control 1 to 1K80. Go ahead.
While attempting to arrest market bandit during commission of robbery, he exchanged fire with suspect. Suspect is known to be wounded. Suspect armed. Use caution. Suspect seen fleeing on foot. All cars in area converge on corner Figueroa and Woodlawn. Suspect described as WMA, 50 to 55 years, 130 to 140 pounds. Block off area at Vernon to Slauson. And from Figueroa to Maine. Suspect last seen going through houses at 49th and Figueroa. That's 49 and Figueroa.
Roger, 1K80. Attention, all units. Attention, all units. All units in the vicinity of 49th and Figueroa. Robbery suspect wounded while attempting robbery of market. Suspect described as WMA, 50 to 55 years, 130 to 140 pounds. Block off area at Vernon to Slauson, and from Figueroa to Main Street. Suspect last seen going through houses at 49th and Figueroa.
Unit 1K80 to Control 1. Unit 1K80 to Control 1.
Control 1 to Unit 1K80. Go ahead.
Suspect is known to be armed. Approach with caution. Use caution. Unit 1K80 to Control 1. KMA 367.
All units. Robbery suspect at 49th and Figueroa, known to be armed. Approach with caution. Repeat. Approach with caution.
What do you figure, Frank?
Well, he's in here someplace. Let's find him.
In the next 3 hours, 37 police cars combed the area. Every possible hiding place was investigated. A house-to-house search was started. Citizens were asked to lock their doors and to open their homes to no one. In one of the yards, we found the hat and coat worn by the suspect, but apparently he'd made good his escape. Broadcasts were gotten out to the entire city, putting them on the alert. Additional officers were sent to the blockaded area to help with the search. Captain Didion came out from the office to direct the operations. 3:30 a.m. The area had been checked and rechecked. No sign of the suspect. Frank and I went back to our car.
I don't know, Joe. The guy's got us jinxed. Seems like everything we do, he's got us beat.
It doesn't make much sense, does it? We got to turn him sometime.
Yeah, we've been saying that for a year. Didion was sure in a rare mood tonight.
Well, he's got trouble with his stomach again.
I'm going to have trouble with mine if this keeps up much longer.
Yeah.
Joe, car.
Yeah, take the other side of it.
Right.
All right, come on out of the car, mister. Come on, we know you're there. Get out.
Get out of here, cop!
Come on, throw that gun out here. You can't go anywhere. Give it up before you get killed.
I ain't coming out. Don't you try come after me.
You haven't got a chance. I dropped the gun.
All right. I quit. Got no more shells. I can't fight anymore. I quit. Please don't shoot anymore.
All right, throw that gun out here. Come on. All right, now get out of the car. Keep those hands up. Put them behind your head. All right, come on over here. Turn around. Put your hands against the car. Straight out in front of you.
I'll shake it.
Hey, you going to call an ambulance for me? I'm hurt. Hey, can't you see I'm hurt? Ain't you going to do anything for me?
He's clean, Joe.
Here.
Here. Get your hands behind you.
Want to put in a call for the ambulance?
Right.
You didn't have to shoot. I would have stopped if I'd known you was cops.
You got trouble with your ears?
No.
We told you we were officers. You built this thing. We just went along with you.
A lousy deal anyway. I should have stopped. I should have quit when I was ahead. If I'd have stopped, you guys would have never caught me. Never.
They're on the way, Joe.
Good. What's your name, mister?
Jerry Rogers.
How old are you?
35.
All this time, we're looking for an old man. How do you figure it, Joe?
I don't know. Gray hair, big overcoat, and that mask. Witnesses didn't get too good a look at him.
Yeah.
You ever been arrested, Rogers?
Yeah, once. Isn't that ambulance ever going to get here?
It's coming. What'd you fall for?
Huh?
What were you arrested for?
Drunk driving. Oh, I should have quit. I should have laid off.
Yeah, it's too bad you didn't figure it that way a little sooner.
Look, I don't want any morals. When's that ambulance going to get here?
Don't worry about it, Rogers.
Huh?
You've got a lot of time.
The story you have just heard was true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On February 4th, trial was held in Department 87, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. Let me tell you again why Chesterfield is best for me and for you. Now you have scientific evidence on the effects of smoking. No adverse effects on the nose, throat, and sinuses of the group from smoking Chesterfield. And remember, Chesterfield is the only cigarette to give you premium quality in both regular and king size. I'd like you to buy Chesterfields and prove that Chesterfield is best for you. Regular or king size, they're much milder to give you all the pleasure the modern cigarette can give.
Gerald Stephen Rogers was tried and found guilty of 12 counts of robbery in the first degree and 4 counts of kidnapping. He was sentenced to life imprisonment in the state penitentiary, San Quentin, California.
Ladies and gentlemen, the National Safety Council reminds you to make sure your car is really in shape for winter driving. Check headlights, windshield wipers, tires, and brakes. And then winterize your driving. Get the feel of the road when you start out. Keep well behind the car ahead. Instead of slamming on brakes and starting a skid, pump your brakes to slow down or stop. And always take your time in wintertime.
You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors, Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Brasher. Heard tonight were Ben Alexander, Ralph Moody, Harry Bartell, Jack Crucian. Script by John Robinson. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
Sound off for Chesterfield. Either way you like 'em, regular or king size, you'll find premium quality Chesterfields much milder.
Chesterfield has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Tonight, it's Adventure with Barry Craig, confidential investigator on NBC.
Sound off for Chesterfield. Chesterfield, the only cigarette in America to give you premium quality in both regular and king size, brings you Dragnet.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to forgery detail. A check forger has been hitting the merchants in your city. From the M.O. she uses, you know she's an expert. You've got a description. Your job, get her. There's only one premium quality cigarette in America, available in both regular and king size, and that is Chesterfield.
Premium quality in a cigarette means the world's best tobaccos, the best ingredients, the best cigarette paper. Only Chesterfield gives you this premium quality in both popular sizes.
King size Chesterfield contains tobaccos of better quality and higher price than any other king size cigarette. That's certainly important to every king size smoker. Of course, it's the same fine tobacco as in regular Chesterfield. There is absolutely no difference, except that king size Chesterfield is larger, contains so much more of these premium quality tobaccos that you get more than a fifth longer smoke from king size Chesterfield.
Yes, the modern way to sell cigarettes is the Chesterfield way. Premium quality, both regular and king size.
And either way you like 'em, Chesterfields are much milder. Chesterfield is best for you.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Wednesday, February 6th. It was cool in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of forgery detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Welch. My name's Friday. I was on my way back from the forgery office, and it was 10:22 a.m. when I got to the mug room.
I'm sure about it, officer. If I ever see that woman again, I'll know her. Don't you have any doubt about it? I'll know her.
Yes, ma'am. Now, if you'll just look through this book, please.
Have you seen anyone who might be the woman, Miss Parkinson?
No, not yet, Sergeant. But if she's got her picture in here, I'll find it for you. Never forget that face. So sweet and kindly. Sort of reminded me of my mother, rest her soul. I think that's why I cashed the check for her. I never would have done it if there hadn't been something like that.
Yes, ma'am. I wonder if you'd mind running over it again for us. Might have been something you forgot, maybe.
No. I wouldn't forget anything about her, but I can tell you about it if you'd like.
All right, fine, Miss Parkinson. If you just start at the beginning again.
Fine. Would you mind calling me Ethel? I don't much care for formality. Feel better when people call me by my given name.
Yes, ma'am. If you go right ahead, please.
Well, this morning's when I found out about it. Like to keeled right over when the check came back from the bank. Opened up the other mail, mostly from people who want to sell me things for the store, and there it was. Letter from the bank with a check inside. Stapled to one of those forms, you know, the kind they just check with a pencil.
Uh-huh.
Well, like I said, there it was. The place that was checked said the account was unknown. Well, you can just bet I got on the phone and called the bank people.
Yes, ma'am, I understand.
I told them they'd made some sort of mistake, that they'd better set it right. I was so sure that she wouldn't do a thing like this. Well, you know how banks are. They said they'd check it for me, and I waited on the phone while they did. And they said it wasn't any mistake. Well, you can just bet that I was hopping mad.
Yeah, well, what kind of identification did the woman use to get you to cash the check?
Well, she had several letters from her son. At least that's who she said they were from. I just bet she hasn't even got a son. Well, sir, I'll bet she hasn't.
Well, do you usually cash checks with that little identification?
No, I don't, as a rule. I usually ask for a driver's license and a Social Security card. Figure that if a person's got one of those, that means that he's working. Figures that the check is good.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's not always true, you know, ma'am.
Don't I know it now? You just bet I do. Last time I'll cash a check for anyone I haven't known for 10 years.
Mm-hmm. Had you seen this woman around your store before this time?
I've been trying to think about that. The shop isn't very big, but we do a pretty good business. Sometimes there are several people waiting. Get in a hurry, you know, and you aren't sure who you talk to.
Yes, ma'am.
To me, I've seen her in the store before, but when I stop and really think about it, I'm not too sure. You know how that is?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
When you boil it right down, I don't think I have seen her before. She just had one of those faces that you figure sure you know. Looked like such a lovely person.
I see. About how old do you figure she was, ma'am?
Well, like I said, I guess about 62, maybe a little older.
Uh-huh.
Might have been 65. Not much over that, though. Such pretty hair. Pure white, had it fixed in a real soft wave over her forehead. Old-fashioned kind of. Wore it in a bun, you know.
Ma'am?
Bun. Had the hair all rolled up and then pinned up back. Here. Back of her neck.
And it was white, you say? The hair was white?
Yeah. Looks so nice to see a woman act and look her age. So many of them try to look younger, you know.
Yes, ma'am. How about her clothes?
Oh, she was well-dressed. Had a sort of teal blue suit on, a black coat. Looked kind of like it might have been cashmere. Looked real nice. Little string gloves and all.
You say she was a small woman, is that right?
Yeah, she was little. Stood real straight, you know, shoulders back. But she was a little one, not more than 5'1" or maybe 2.
Mm-hmm. Would she be slight or heavy?
Beg pardon?
Well, how much would you say she weighed?
Maybe 100 pounds. Say she wasn't much heavier than that. No, sir, 100 pounds.
Was there anything unusual about her, anything that might make her stand out?
No, I don't think so, except maybe it was the perfume.
Ma'am?
Perfume, you know, how you kind of expect a little old lady to wear something kind of mild, like violet, maybe. Something light.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, she had a real heavy perfume on. Smelled kind of like a French scent. Real heavy, like I said. It was one thing I couldn't figure out.
What's that, ma'am?
Well, she did have nice clothes and all, but all in all, she didn't look like she had a lot of money. Just moderate, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that perfume must have been expensive. Must have cost a lot.
Well, I guess she's making enough to afford it, ma'am. 10:34 a.m. Mrs. Parkinson continued to look through the mug books. She was unable to identify the woman who had passed the bad check. The merchants of the city had been victimized for the past 3 weeks by a forger. All of them described her as a kindly old lady using letters from her son in the East as identification. Frank and I had run the description we'd gotten through R&I with no result. The stats office had made several runs on the M.O., and all leads furnished by them had been checked out, but they led us nowhere. We'd obtained copies of the forged checks, and they'd been processed by Don Meyer in handwriting, but he'd been unable to offer us any new information. The names on each of the checks were different. We checked each of them out, but the leads went nowhere. All of the stores in the central area had been alerted. Descriptions had been distributed to the neighborhood merchants, but the check passing continued. We checked with our informants, but they failed to come up with any information. 2 weeks passed. The woman hit 12 more times. Her take was estimated to be over $2,500. The checks she passed were always for the same amount, $50. When it seemed necessary, she would purchase merchandise in order to cash the check. The articles she chose were in a price range so that the store owner would often cash the check rather than lose the sale. Thursday, February 21st, 8:34 a.m. Frank and I got back to the office. I'll get it. Forgery, Friday. Yeah. All right, where? How soon? All right. No, we'll see you there.
What is it?
Harry Allenson.
Informant?
Yeah, says he wants to see us right away.
Yeah.
Says he knows the woman we're looking for. The working detective knows that he's usually only as good as his informants. Quite often, when all other means of bringing a case to a successful conclusion have failed, the only thing that'll break it is information supplied by an informant. A detective will protect his informant. For as long as the informant can operate, the detective is assured of a steady flow of information. 9:45 a.m. Frank and I drove over to the coffee shop at the corner of Crawford and Spring Streets. Harry Allenson wasn't there when we arrived. We sat down and ordered a cup of coffee.
Oh, that's good and hot.
Yeah, it is.
Hey, pass the sugar, will you, Joe?
Yeah. There you go.
Thanks.
Okay. Wonder where Allenson is.
What time did he say he'd be here?
9:45.
Well, it's only a couple of minutes after that now. He'll be here.
Wonder how right his story is.
What did he tell you on the phone?
Oh, nothing, just that he knew what we were looking for. Said if we'd meet him here, he'd fill us in. There he is.
Oh, yeah.
Friday? Huh?
Harry? Sit down.
Yeah. Sorry I'm late. Got hung up in traffic.
Oh, you got a car now, Harry?
No, missed my streetcar. Had to wait for another. Say, you guys had breakfast yet?
Yeah, we did a little earlier.
You mind if I have something to eat?
No, go ahead.
Where's the waitress?
Well, she was here a minute ago. I don't see her now.
I'll go get her myself. Sure you guys don't want anything to eat?
No, thanks just the same, Harry.
Okay, be right back.
Well, here we go again, Joe.
Yep.
Last time we met him, his meal cost $2.50. How much dough you got on you?
Oh, I got a couple of bucks. How you fixed?
Well, not much better. Let's hope he doesn't order too much, though.
How about some more coffee for you guys?
No, thanks, Harry.
Chow will be up in a minute.
All right, how about this information, Harry, about the paper hanger?
Oh, yeah. Funny the way I got it.
Is that right?
Yeah, I was up in Jack's bar last night. You know, just having a beer, shooting the breeze. All of a sudden, this old girl comes into the place. Kind of set everybody back on their heels. It looks so nice.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, she slides up on one of the stools and orders a drink. Even Jack was taken in. Changed his apron and all. Anyway, she climbs up on the stool and orders some sherry. Made a big thing of it.
How do you mean?
Well, Jack started to pour some of it for her, and she stopped him. Said that she wanted California sherry. Said she didn't want any of that imported stuff. Said her family was one of the first ones in the state and that she believed in using homegrown products. She was kind of cute about it. Real little woman perched up on that stool. Looked a little like a cartoon. You know, the ones of the little old lady guzzling martini.
Yeah,
Oh, say, hold on a minute, will you? My food's ready. Be right back.
Okay, Harry.
How do you like that guy? It takes him 5 hours to get a point
Well,
over.
there's nothing you can do about it, Frank. He's got to tell it his way.
Oh, I suppose so.
Nothing like a big breakfast. I always say if you stoke up in the morning, you got it made for the day.
Yeah, that's right, Harry.
Farm breakfast, they call this. Tell you, that's easy. Oh, look at that sausage. Fried real good. I like it when it's like a rock. Can't stand pork that hasn't been cooked enough.
Yeah. You want to go on with the story?
Oh, yeah. Don't mind if I eat, do you? Got a big day today. A lot of things to do.
No, you go right ahead, Harry.
All right. Well, like I said, this old broad ordered the sherry.
Uh-huh.
Well, as time went on, she must have had 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah?
A couple other guys came in, and I moved over to make room for them. Ended up sitting right next to the woman. Say, pass the ketchup, will you?
Oh, yeah.
There you go. Eggs aren't much good without a lot of ketchup. Gives them real flavor.
Yeah, Harry, could you get the point maybe a little sooner?
Oh, well, first off, I noticed this perfume this broad's wearing. Well, now I tell you, it's been a long time since I smelled anything like that. Real heavy. Like the stuff they sell in France.
Yeah?
Didn't fit the woman. Now, sir, didn't seem to go with the rest of her. I tried to strike up a conversation, you know. Talked about the weather, stuff like that, but she wouldn't have none of it. She didn't actually tell me, but I could tell the way she answered me, you know, kind of cool.
What makes you think she might be the one we're looking for?
The way she looked, the way she worked.
What do you mean the way she worked?
Well, I'm getting to it. Anyway, after she's had the sherry, she reached into her purse to pay for him. Fumbles around in it for a while. Well, I couldn't help seeing what was in it, you know, what was sitting right next to her and all.
Yeah, sure.
Well, she don't come up with any money. And she starts going through her pockets. Still can't find any money. Finally, she asked Jack.
Who's that, the bartender?
Yeah, Jack. He owns the place. She asked him if he'll cash a check.
Yeah.
Well, now I ask you. Neither one of you guys know Jack?
No, I don't think we do, Harry.
No, I don't.
Well, Jack wouldn't cash a check for the treasurer of the country. Not even if he had the president to vouch for him. Been stung too many times.
Yeah.
Well, this old gal gets to him, see?
I can see him start to go. He kind of hems and haws around all the time. He's trying to figure out a nice way to say no to her.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, he just ups and says it. Well, right after he kind of waits and expects her to tell him off for being so mean to somebody like her, but she doesn't. Just kind of hunches her shoulders and then starts digging in her purse again. Takes everything out, puts it on the bar. Well, it happens that her driver's license is lying right there on the bar in front of me. Couldn't help but read it, you know.
Yeah, we know.
Well, I saw her name, and I asked her if she'd let me buy the wine for it.
Mm-hmm. What'd she say to that?
Well, when I called her by name, she acted kind of startled, like she didn't expect it, and then she kind of smiled and said she was financially embarrassed at the moment. Something about coming away from the house without any money, but she said she thought it'd be very sweet of me if I'd take care of the tab. So I paid Jack the money, and I asked her if she'd like another one. She said she didn't think so, and then she got all her stuff together and put it back into her purse and thanks me. Then she got up and left.
Yeah, well, what was the name on the driver's license? Do you remember that?
Yeah. Got it written down here someplace. After she left, Jack and me got talking about her, and then it hit me that she might be the one you're looking for. So I jotted down the name.
You ever see this woman before, Harry?
No, never laid eyes on her before she walked into Jack's last night. Now, here it is.
Mm-hmm, thanks.
Yeah, that's the name at the top of the paper. Right under, that's her address.
The name on the piece of paper was Lillian Halstead. It was a new name in the case. It gave an address out near Bel Air. Frank and I called the name into R&I, but they had no record on anyone answering that description. We paid the check and thanked Harry Allenson for the information, and then we drove out to the address. It was a large house just off Sunset Boulevard. Mrs. Halstead wasn't in, but the maid told us that we'd find her husband at the Halstead School of Dramatic Arts. She gave us the address, and Frank and I drove out to the school. It was located in a large modern building out on Wilshire Boulevard. When we got there, Mr. Halstead was working with the advanced class in the drama section. We took a seat at the rear of the auditorium and waited for him to finish.
You gentlemen wish to see me?
Yes, sir. You're Mr. Halstead, are you?
That's correct.
Police officer, sir. This is my partner, Frank Smith. My name's Friday.
How do you do?
How do you do?
What is it that you'd like to see me about?
Well, can you tell us where your wife is, sir?
Lillian?
Yes.
Well, she's out of town. Why? What do you want with her?
Well, what if you could describe her for us?
Why, certainly. I don't understand what this is all about, though.
Well, it's just a routine investigation.
Routine? What's that mean?
Well, just that we're conducting an investigation, and a woman with the same name as your wife came up. We're just checking it out. Now, if you could give us a description of your wife, please.
Yes, well, let me see. Lillian's 36. Yes, I would say she's 5 feet 6 1/2 inches. Weighs perhaps 130 pounds.
Mm-hmm. What color's her hair, Mr. Halstead?
Well, before she left, it was sort of an auburn. Lillian said something about dyeing it red. Might have done it since she's been gone.
Where's your wife now?
She's back in Washington. They're holding a drama festival, and she's back there looking it over.
Do you have a picture of your wife here, Mr. Halstead?
Yes, sir. I have one on my desk in the office.
What if we take a look at it?
Why, certainly. You can go out this way.
Fine, thank you.
Here, down this way, please.
Thank you.
You tell me what this investigation is that you're working on.
Well, no, sir, not right now. We can't.
Oh, you can. Cloak and dagger stuff, eh?
No, sir, it's not exactly that.
Oh, here, I'll get the door for you.
Thank you.
Yes, right this way. Excuse me a moment. All right, here. Here's the picture. Lovely woman. Been a great help here at the school.
Yes, sir. How long ago was this picture taken?
Several months ago, I believe.
Mr. Halstead, how long has your wife been out of town?
Perhaps a week, 10 days, perhaps. Something like that.
Mm-hmm. Does your wife drive a car, Mr. Halstead?
Yes, sir, she does. Oh, I understand. The license.
Sir?
Lillian's driver's license. That's what you're here about, isn't it?
Well, I don't understand, sir.
Oh, you don't have to be cagey with me. Lillian lost her driver's license some time ago, asked me to get her a new one. I didn't quite get a chance to do it. You found it. That's it, isn't it?
No, sir, that's not. We think your wife's license has been used as identification by some check forger.
Do you happen to know where your wife might have lost the license?
Why, no, we don't know exactly. It must have been about 3 months ago. She says that she dropped it here at the school, but I've looked all over for it, haven't been able to find it. I think she just left it someplace. She's terribly careless about things like that.
Yes, sir.
Is this about the old woman that's been forging the checks?
Why do you ask that, sir?
Well, that's another thing that I've been meaning to call you about. I was reading the paper one night, and all of a sudden it hit me.
Sir? Well,
I could be wrong, but I think I know the girl who's doing this.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action.
The modern way to sell cigarettes is the Chesterfield way. Premium quality in both regular and king size. And we're the only one that does it. We tell you what Chesterfields are made of to give you that premium quality in both popular sizes. Our scientists select the best materials. They select for Chesterfield the world's best tobaccos, blend them just right. And they keep Chesterfields tasty and fresh with the best of moistening agents. Now, here's something else that's completely modern about Chesterfield. People smoke Chesterfield, and we tell you what happens. Scientifically, but simply.
A medical specialist is making regular bi-monthly examinations of a group of people from various walks of life. 45% of this group have smoked Chesterfield for an average of over 10 years. After 8 months, the medical specialist reports that he observed no adverse effects on the nose, throat, and sinuses of the group from smoking Chesterfield.
I'd say that means real mildness. And finally, we ask you to try Chesterfield and prove what we say. Chesterfield is best for you. They're much milder to give you all the pleasure that the modern cigarette can give.
2:37 p.m. We ran the name Bert Halstead through R&I, but we got no make on anyone answering his description. Halstead told us that he thought we might be looking for a girl he identified as Peggy Small. He told us that the Small girl had enrolled in the dramatic school over a year before. We asked him if he had a picture of her that we could have, and he told us that he thought there was one in the files. He took us down the hall to the registration office and checked his files. He located a picture of the girl and handed it to Frank.
Just why do you think this might be the girl we're looking for, Mr. Halstead?
Well, it's the oddest thing, officer. Peggy. Oh, that's Miss Small.
Yes, sir.
Well, Peggy came to us about a year ago, as I said. She came out here to the coast from some little town in Idaho, I think it was. I'd have to check her entrance application to be sure, but I think it was Idaho.
Yes, sir.
Well, instantly I knew that this girl had talent, real talent, deep down, talent. Right off the bat, she had the feel. Would have been a fine character actress.
Well, why do you say would have?
She didn't want to work. Wasn't interested in anything but learning how to be an old woman.
Sir?
All she was interested in was learning to act like a little old woman. Oh. We have a theory here at Halstead. Don't act, live. She did just that. Learned the makeup problems, dress, walk, everything. She even used to practice writing like a woman of 60 or so. I used to see her practicing by the hour.
Did she ever give you any reason for all this?
No. I asked her once, but she said that this was the way she wanted it. Now, I thought that she was trying to tell me to keep my nose out of her affairs in a nice way, so I didn't ask her again.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we have presentations here. Each term the class presents a play that's been written and produced by the students themselves.
Yes, sir.
Peggy would always do the oldest female part in them. Never was interested in anything else. She had several good offers, but for some reason she did not take them.
What do you mean by that, sir?
Well, one night a talent scout from one of the majors came out to see our play.
Well,
he was quite... Majors? Oh, the studio. He was quite impressed with Peggy, offered her a term contract, good money. She'd have done well, but she just was not interested. I just can't understand it.
Well, do you know where she is now?
No, officer, I haven't seen Peggy since she left here. That was about 4 months ago.
I wonder if you could tell us where she lived when she was enrolled here.
Certainly. I have the address on her enrollment card.
Well, that's fine. We'd like to have the names and addresses of any of her close friends, too, if we could.
Oh, certainly glad to help. You think it could be her? Peggy, the woman you're looking for?
Well, it could be, yes, sir.
Odd. Now, I got to thinking about it when I read about it in the papers. Right away, it made me think of Peggy. How she used to talk about acting.
Well, how's that, sir?
Well, she used to always say there was only one reason for doing anything, and that was to come out on it. That was the trouble with most people. They just didn't know where they wanted to end up. But she knew where she was going.
Well, maybe she was right.
I beg your pardon?
If she's the one we're looking for, we know, too. "3:12 p.m. We got Peggy Small's address from Mr. Halstead, and then we went back to the office. We ran the name through R&I, but there was no record on the girl. 4:02 p.m. Frank and I drove out to the last known address of the Small girl. It was a boarding house on 92nd Street. Peggy Small wasn't in, but the landlady told us that she usually didn't get back from work until 7 or 7:30. We asked if she knew where the girl worked, but she told us that she didn't. We arranged for a stakeout on the house, and at 4:37 p.m. we checked back into the office. You want to check the book?
Right.
Anything?
Don't think so. There's a call from Faye. Wants to know if I'll be home for dinner. I better give her a call, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
Faye's getting a little hacked at me.
Oh, is that so?
Yeah. Last 3 nights she's waited dinner for me, and I didn't make it.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, honey. Yeah. Well, I don't know yet. Yeah? Well, I think so. I know. Well, maybe another hour or so I'll know. Yeah. Okay, honey. Bye. If I don't make it tonight, she's going to scalp me.
I get it. Forgery Friday. Yes, ma'am. What's that address again? All right. Yes, ma'am. We'll be right there. Well, your dinner's going to have to wait again.
Why?
Dry goods store out on Main. Forger's there now. In the process of the investigation, the police department had alerted the merchants throughout the city to the method of operation of the woman forger. Thousands of printed circulars had been distributed bearing her description. An artist's conception of the woman had been published in the daily papers, and the drawing had also been broadcast over the local television stations. The clerk in the store we'd gotten the call from had noticed a similarity between a woman waiting to cash a check and the description. From the information we'd gotten on the hot shot, the woman was waiting for an authorization for the check. When Frank and I got to the store, we met a small elderly woman. She produced identification in the form of a driver's license bearing the name Lillian Halstead. Frank and I asked her to go with us to the city hall for questioning. A policewoman was called, and the interrogation started. One look at her, and you could see that she was covered with a heavy makeup.
I want you gentlemen to know that I resent the implication you're making. The idea of trying to make me out a vicious criminal.
Ma'am, we're not trying to embarrass you. We just want to get to the truth here.
I'm giving you that. I'm telling you what you want to know.
All right, now let's get it over with. What's your name?
Lillian Halstead.
Is this your driver's license?
Yes, it is.
Then the thumbprint on it should be yours, too. Is that right?
I'd imagine so, yes.
Well, then suppose we go down the hall and take your fingerprints and compare it, huh?
Now, you look here, young man. I know my rights. You're not dealing with some little schoolgirl this time. I've lived a long time, and I know just exactly what you can do and what you can't do. I know, for instance, that you can't take my fingerprints unless you want to arrest me for something. If you want to make a fool out of yourself to that extent, then you go right ahead and do it. And mark this well, young man. I'll sue you for every nickel you own. I'll let the papers know about this. They love to know how you treat old women. They just love to know.
You ever been mistreated in any way, ma'am?
No, and I don't intend to be.
There's a man on the way down here, ma'am, the name of Halstead. Wife's name is Lillian Halstead. That driver's license we found in your purse, the one you claim is yours, that's registered to his wife. He's coming down here to tell us that you aren't his wife, that you stole that license, that you were a student in his dramatic school. Now, why don't you save us all a lot of trouble here? Why don't you admit that you're the woman we're looking for, that you're Peggy Small? You're no old woman. Come on, how about it, Miss Small?
All right, I lose. Guess I should have known. Mind if I take this wig off? It's kind of warm in here.
We've been kind of waiting for it. Go right ahead.
It's a good racket while it lasted. Crummy driver's license. I was doing all right as long as I used the letters. They should have been good enough for me. I should have known.
What'd you do with the money?
I got it all, every last nickel of it. I almost had enough, too.
Enough for what?
Leave this lousy town, get out of here, go back east, New York. A couple more pieces of paper and I'd have it made. Could have left. Almost showed him good.
Ma'am?
Phony town. Months I pounded on doors, talking to agents, casting directors, talking to anybody who'd listen to me, trying to get a job, trying to get a break in pictures. None of them would talk to me. Wouldn't even see me. It's a phony town.
Yes, ma'am.
They wanted character women. Didn't want any young women, character women. That's what they wanted. So I got to be the best of them. They didn't want me the way I am. I didn't want to work any other way, none. Had you fooled, didn't I? Had the whole town fooled. All of them. It's a phony place. I was going back east, back to New York. They know talent back there. They recognize it. They know whether you're real there or whether you're just a phony. They know it there.
Yes, ma'am. We know it here, too.
The story you have just heard was true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On June 19th, trial was held in Department 89, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. Friends, only the modern cigarette Chesterfield gives you this scientific evidence on the effects of smoking. No adverse effects on the nose, throat, and sinuses of the group from smoking Chesterfield. And only the modern cigarette Chesterfield gives you premium quality in both regular and king size. Now, I know Chesterfield is best for me and best for you. Buy them, regular or king size. Either way, they're much milder to give you all the pleasure the modern cigarette can give.
Peggy Janice Small was tried and convicted of forgery, 10 counts. She was sentenced to the California Institution for Women at Corona, California, for the term prescribed by law. Forgery is punishable by imprisonment for a period of from 1 to 14 years in the state penitentiary. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Brasher. Heard tonight were Ben Alexander, June Whitley, Jack Crucian, Gene Tatum. Script by John Robinson. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
Sound off for Chesterfield. Either way you like them, regular or king size, you'll find premium quality Chesterfields much milder.
Chesterfield has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Tonight, it's Adventure with Barry Craig, confidential investigator on NBC.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, July 7th. It was hot in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of homicide detail. My partner is Frank Smith. The boss is Thad Brown, chief of detectives. My name's Friday. I was on my way into work, and it was 4:58 p.m. when I got to room 42. Homicide.
John, are you?
Yeah. Been here long?
No, I just got in. Sure a beautiful day, isn't it?
Yeah, summer's really here, isn't it?
That daylight saving time makes a difference. Got a lot more time, seems like. Made me think about my vacation.
Well, you're doing a couple of weeks, aren't you?
Yeah, first part of August.
Mm-hmm. Figured out where you're going yet?
Yeah, Faye and I talked it out. You know, Joe?
Oh, what's that?
I think maybe I had Armand figured wrong.
Armand? That's your brother-in-law?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cynthia, Faye, and I got to talking where we're going to spend the vacation. Faye wants to go up to Big Bear. I'm saying Mexico.
Yeah.
You know, I take a little fishing. I hear the yellows are hitting pretty good.
The what?
Yellowtail.
Oh.
You don't fish much.
No, I don't fish at all.
Well, they're supposed to be hitting pretty good, but Faye can't see Mexico. And darned if old Armand doesn't chime in and say he thinks Mexico's a great idea.
Well, that's swell.
Yeah. Tells Faye all about the beaches down there and how good the food is, all about the air, healthy. You know, really sells it.
So that's where you're going, huh?
No, Faye didn't buy it. It's going to mountains.
Well, fishing's supposed to be pretty good up there, too, isn't it? That's what I've read, I guess. I don't know.
I suppose so, but... Oh, Armand, how do you like that guy? Sure surprised me.
Yeah, maybe he's going to work out, huh?
Yeah.
I'll get it.
Okay.
Homicide Friday. Yes, sir, it is. I beg your pardon. Could you talk a little louder? Yes, sir. Uh-huh. Yes, sir. Well, when was that? I see. When? Yes, sir. What was that address again? All right, I have it. Yes. Yes, sir, that's right. We'll be right out. Right, bye. Well, we got one to roll on. Kidnapping out in Hollywood. The man on the phone gave his name as Henry Wagner. He said that he'd come home from work and found that his wife was gone. He said on the phone that he'd found a note demanding ransom and cautioning him against calling the police. 5:22 p.m. Frank and I arrived at the house on Temple Hill Avenue. We parked the car down the street from the house and went up to the front door. Frank would remain in the car for a few minutes and then follow. In that way, if the kidnappers were watching the house, they wouldn't be as likely to know that we were working on the case. I rang the bell and waited.
Yes, you the police?
Yes, sir, that's right. My name's Friday.
Oh, hello. Come in, please, quickly. I don't want them to see you.
Who's them, sir?
The kidnappers. They might be watching. I don't know what I'm going to do. Terrible thing to have happen. Just doesn't make sense.
All right, now, sir, if you just try to calm down and tell me what happened here. We want to start right from the beginning?
All right. I got home from school about 4:30. Myra wasn't here. I looked at the house for her. Figured, like you said on the phone, that she might have gone to the store. When I couldn't find her, I started looking for a note. That's when I found the ransom demand right there on the coffee table.
And you said you got home from school, was that it?
Yes, I teach political science at the university.
Well, when did you last see your wife?
when I left this morning about 7:30. I have a class at 8.
Have you talked to her since?
Yes, I called her about 1:15.
Did everything seem all right then? I mean, did she seem to be upset or anything like that?
No, everything seemed to be normal.
Did she say if there was anyone with her when you talked to her?
No, if there was, she didn't give any indication of it.
I see.
I know that this isn't a hoax, if that's what you're thinking. I know that Myra wouldn't do a thing like this. She's a serious woman. I guess you might say that she had a rather dull sense of humor. No, I know that she wouldn't do a thing like this as a joke.
No, sir, it's not that. I'm just trying to get all the facts here. Wonder if I can see the note.
Yes, I left it over here on the desk.
That'll be my partner. I'll let him in if it's all right. No, thanks. Yeah, money. Mr. Wagner, it's my partner, Frank Smith.
How do you do,
Mr. Wagner?
How do you do? I'll get the note.
Well, I'd rather you wouldn't handle it anymore, sir.
Oh, all right. You going to try to get some fingerprints from it? Is that right?
Well, that's the idea, yes, sir. You read it, Joe? Yeah, it's made up of newsprint and cut out of the paper. Looks like one of the morning papers. Yeah, I'll read it for you. Just put $10,000 in 5, 10s, and 20s in the shoebox. Make sure the bills are unmarked. On July 8th, drive up Deer Canyon Drive at 10:30 p.m., 5 miles past the turnoff. You'll see a white string across the road. Drop the shoebox out of the car, go on back home. Your wife will be returned. Don't tell the cops. If you tell anybody, we'll kill your wife.
Deer Canyon Drive.
Yeah, you know that's up above Laurel.
Oh, yeah. $10,000. Do you have that kind of money, Mr. Wagner?
No, sir. I don't know how I'm going to raise it. I have to, but I don't know how I'm going to do it.
Have you noticed anyone lately that's been in the neighborhood here? I mean, anybody loitering around without any reason to be here?
No, I haven't. Of course, you must understand I'm not home a great deal. But Myra didn't say anything about it. I'm sure she would have if she'd seen anybody like that.
You and your wife have any enemies that do a thing like this, would you know?
None that I can think of.
Do you have any household help?
I beg pardon?
Household help. Anyone that comes in to help your wife with the housework. You know, a day maid, something like that.
Well, there's Betty Jo. She comes in once a week to clean up the house.
When was she last here?
Let me see. That was Saturday. That's her usual day, Saturday. I guess it was then.
Didn't you see her last week?
No. You see, I had to go out by Pomona this last weekend. A series of lectures I wanted to catch. I left early Saturday morning, didn't get back until late that night.
Did your wife go with you?
No, she stayed at home. She had a little touch of the virus and figured she'd better stay at home and take care of it. Are you sure this is the right thing to do? Maybe I should have handled it myself.
No, sir, you did the right thing. I wonder if you could give us a description of your wife, Mr. Wagner.
Why? You aren't going to tell anyone else about this, are you?
No, sir. The information will be handled in the usual confidential manner.
Oh. Well, I guess you men know what you're doing.
All right, sir, if you just give us a description, if you could.
Well, Myra is about 5'3".
2 men came out from the office and a stakeout was placed on the house. The note was taken downtown and photographed. Dean Bergman lifted several clean prints from it. However, comparison with those taken from Mr. Wagner eliminated them. The maid, Betty Jo, was contacted, but she could tell us nothing. In the meantime, Sergeant J. Allen at the crime lab prepared a shoebox as directed by the abductors. Dummy packages of money were placed in the box, and the container was wiped clean of all fingerprints. The area where the meet was to take place was staked out. The following morning, Wednesday, July 8th, Henry Wagner went to teach his classes at the university as usual. Late in the afternoon, he returned home, and at 9:45 p.m., he got into his car and left the house. I'd gotten into the back seat of the car earlier, and I kept out of sight. In an undercover unit behind us, Frank, Lieutenant Gorham, and Gillen Senior kept us under observation in the event that we missed contact with the kidnappers. 10:26 p.m. We turned off Benedict Canyon onto Deer Canyon Drive.
I hope I'm doing the right thing. I can't help thinking of what they might do to Myra.
Well, try to take it easy, Mr. Wagner. We know how you feel. Everything that can be done has been taken care of here.
That's what you've been telling me for the past hour. Doesn't make me feel any better about what's happening.
Can you still see that car behind us?
No. I think they dropped back when we turned off Benedict.
Uh-huh. How's it look up ahead?
Can't see much. Dark.
How far off the canyon have we come?
About 4.5 miles.
You got your box right there ready to throw it out?
Yes, sir. Right here on the seat.
All right, now remember, when you toss it out, try to lift it by the string.
Right, I'll remember. I just hope we're doing the right thing. I'll never forgive myself if anything happens to Myra. $10,000 just isn't worth it. Wait a minute.
Mm-hmm.
There it is. The string across the road.
Anybody around it?
No. It's so dark. I can't see anything but what's in front of the car.
How close are we to the place here?
About 50 or 60 feet.
All right, now take it slow. Don't give any indication that you're not doing exactly what they told you to. And remember, don't handle that box. Hold it to the string.
All right. We're here. I'm throwing the box out.
All right, now close your door.
What now?
Go up the road a little, and then turn around and drive back. Act like everything is just the way they told you to handle it.
All right.
Take it easy now.
We can turn around here.
All right. You see anyone move for the money?
No, not yet. Maybe when I get turned around. Just a second. Driveway here. Oh, pretty dark back there.
Can you see anything at all?
Nothing there. I don't see anyone.
All right, now just keep driving. If there's anybody to pick up the money, it'll look better if you don't cause any trouble.
I don't know about all of this, Sergeant. Somehow I still can't get the idea out of my mind that we've done the wrong thing. That they know all about it, that they're going to kill Myra.
Now, there's no reason that they should know if there's anything wrong, Mr. Wagner. From what they can see, you're doing just what they told you. They got nothing to tell them any different here.
But what if they found out? What if they know that you're working on the case? What if they know about it? They might kill Myra. I'd never forgive myself. I never should have told you about it. I should have taken care of it myself. They'll kill her. I know they will. They'll kill her because you're working on it. The way it is now, she hasn't got a chance.
No, you're wrong there, Wagner. The odds are on her side now. 10:45 p.m. Henry Wagner and I left the meeting place. About a mile down Deer Canyon Drive, Wagner dropped me off, and then he started down Benedict Canyon Drive and continued on home. I met with Frank, Lieutenant Gorham, and Sergeant Gil Encinas, and we started back on foot. We cut off the road and waited on the hill overlooking the meeting place. Frank told me that they'd seen no activity on the road while Wagner and I were making the meet. We moved in closer. 11:30 p.m. No sign of the kidnappers. The moon came up, and we could see the white string across the road. In a patch of manzanita, we could see the shoebox containing the dummy packages of money. We waited. Midnight. 1:30 a.m. Still no sign of the kidnappers. 2:30. 4. At 4:45 a.m., the sun came up, and Frank and I left the area. Lieutenant Gorham and Sergeant Gil Encinas continued to stake the meeting place. If the kidnappers had been in the vicinity, we'd missed them. Our only course now was to wait for them to contact Henry Wagner again. 8:15 a.m. Frank and I checked out and went on home to take a shower and get something to eat. At 11:12 a.m. Thursday morning, we checked back into the office.
Last night, huh?
Yeah, there's nothing to show for it.
Anything from Gorman and Encinas?
No, I don't see anything.
There's one thing I found out.
What's that?
I need a heavier coat for nights.
Yeah?
Saw an ad in the magazine. Advertised those English duffel coats. Look real good.
What?
Duffel coats. Wore them in the North Atlantic during the war. You know, Joe, they're real heavy. Got a hood that comes up. Should be real warm.
A hood?
Yeah, you know, like a monk wears. When you aren't wearing it, looks just like a collar. When it gets cold, you raise up the little gimmick, and there you are, warm as anything.
You know, Frank, somehow I just can't see you in there.
Yeah? Well, I noticed you weren't any too warm last night. Next time we do duty like that, I'm going to be ready for it.
Yeah. It's like a monk. I'll get it.
Homicide Friday.
Yes. Oh, yes, Mr. When was that? Uh-huh. Yes, sir, right away. Now, that's it.
Huh?
The Wagner woman, she's home. a.m. Frank and I drove out to the Wagner home. The officers on stakeout told us that Mrs. Wagner had walked into the house at about 11 o'clock that morning. As soon as she'd gotten inside the house, she collapsed. The family doctor had been called, and she was treated for shock. Other than some scratches on her arms and around her face, she was unharmed. The officers told us that they'd been unable to interrogate her so far. We talked to the doctor, and he told us that we could talk to her until the sedative took effect.
Honey, these are policemen. They want to ask you a few questions.
What?
Police officers, honey. There's Mr. Friday and there's Mr. Smith.
Oh, yes.
They want to ask you some questions, dear, about the people who took you.
Oh, all right.
It won't take very long, Miss Wagner.
That's all right. I want to help to get them.
All right, now, if you just tell us how it happened.
How it happened?
Yes, ma'am.
Sergeant, you have to do this now. Maybe later when she's rested.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Wagner. We haven't got much choice here. We'd like to get to the people who did this. If we wait until later, we might not be able to get them.
Yes, I didn't think of that. Well, if the doctor says it's all right, go ahead.
Miss Wagner?
Yes?
Do you know the people who did it? The people who took you?
No.
You never seen them before?
No, never.
All right, now, could you just tell us what happened?
I guess so. They came to the door about 2:30.
Who was they, ma'am?
Oh, I just saw a man. Later, when we got into the car, there was a woman, too.
All right, go ahead.
They told me that Henry had been in an accident, that he'd been hurt, that he was at the hospital. Said they wanted to take me to him.
Yes, ma'am.
I didn't know any different. I went with them. I thought that Henry was hurt. I didn't know any different.
You have to do this, officer. She's home, safe. That's all I care about. That's all that's important. Why don't you let her get some rest? Then you can talk to her. Talk as much as you want to her. But please, you can see what this is doing to her.
Yes, sir. Now, look, this isn't an easier on us. We've got a job to do here. Like we had when she was gone. You know how you feel, but we'd like to get to those people.
It's all right, Henry. I'm all right, dear.
Where'd they take you, ma'am?
First, I think they were going to take me to a house near here. I didn't notice the street, but it was near here. I'm sure of that. Then when we got near there, I knew that something was wrong, that they weren't going to take me to Henry like they said. I knew it then.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I told them to let me out of the car, said that they'd better let me go.
Mm-hmm.
The woman, she was in the back seat with me, said for me to keep my mouth closed. I tried to get out the door, and she hit me. And the two of them got into an argument. The man started to yell at the woman that it wasn't any good, that they'd better forget the whole thing. And the woman said that they'd gone too far for that now, that they had to go through with it.
Uh-huh.
Well, then they put a blindfold on me, tied my hands and blindfolded me, and then they started to drive.
Well, at any time, did either of them use a name, in talking to each other?
No, I don't think so. At least if they did, I don't remember it.
Uh-huh. Go ahead, Miss Wagner.
Well, then they started to drive. I couldn't see where they were going, but I know that they headed out the Arroyo Seco toward Pasadena. I could tell from the way we went. Then I heard the woman talk about the turnoff to get on the Seco. Right then, the man told her to shut up.
Yes, ma'am.
We drove for quite a while and then stopped. They made me get out and took me into a house.
Did you have any idea where you were at the time, ma'am?
No, I didn't.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, ma'am.
Well, they took me into the house and put me in a room. Tied me up. I couldn't move, couldn't do anything. They locked the door, and I could hear them arguing in the next room. The man was really telling the woman off. Said that she was a fool, that she'd really botched the whole thing up.
I see.
That night, they brought in a plate of food. Told me it was time to eat. All there was some prunes. That's what they said to me all the time I was there, prunes. Never did take the blindfold off.
Was there anything at all that would let you know where you were?
Oh, a couple of things. They're probably kind of silly, but maybe you can make something out of them.
What's that, ma'am?
Well, there was a clock that was in the room where they had me, one of those chime clocks, tolled every 15 minutes, like Westminster chimes.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't think it was a very big clock. Chimes sounded small.
Mm-hmm.
Then there were the trains.
Trains?
Yes, every once in a while I'd hear trains going past. Sounded like they were near, maybe a couple blocks away, not much more than that.
But do you think that you could give us a description of the man and woman, Miss Wagner?
Yes, I think so. First, I was so upset with thinking that Henry was hurt that I didn't notice, but I think I can describe them for you.
All right, ma'am, that'll be fine.
There's one thing, though.
What's that?
I'd be positive if I saw them.
12 noon, we continued to talk to the Wagner woman. She gave us a description of the man and woman who had kidnapped her and a description of the car they'd used. We called the information into the office, and a local and an ATV were gotten out. We ran the descriptions through R&I, but we got no mate. 2:45 p.m. As one of the possibilities for identifying the locality described by Mrs. Wagner, Frank and I left the house and drove to the office of one of the milk companies in the city. We talked to the driver that handled the area in which Mrs. Wagner said the kidnappers were going to stop. He couldn't identify the man and the woman from the description. We checked 2 more milk companies, and on the third, we got a tentative identification. The driver of the route told us that we could be asking about a Mr. and Mrs. Thomas Harper, he thought. He gave us their address, and Frank and I drove out there. On the way, we called the names into R&I and had them make a check for us. They said they had a record on the Thomas Harper who answered the description. He served time in San Quentin and in Folsom Penitentiary. He'd been sentenced both times for armed robbery and ADW. There was no record on Mrs. Harper and no warrants at the present time for her husband. 5:57 p.m. We better try it again. All right. Probably aren't in. The car parked down the street here. Could be there. Check from that description we got from the Wagner woman. I think somebody's coming.
Yeah, what do you want?
You Thomas Harper?
Yes, sir.
Police officers would like to talk to you.
What about?
Just like to talk to you.
All right, go on.
What is it, Tom?
Cops.
What do they want?
Say they want to talk. I don't know what about.
Just a routine investigation.
What are you trying to kid?
What do you mean by that, Harper?
Somebody's done something, you need a pigeon. I got a record, so I'm right for you guys to lean on.
What's the matter? You got something to worry about?
Not a thing in the world, but I know you guys, you're going to try.
What do you want, anyway?
You people tell us your activities for the past 4 days?
What for?
Just tell us, will you?
Yeah, tell us. You got an angle where you wouldn't be here. You're trying to pin something on us, and you know it.
You want to tell us what you've been doing?
You haven't left the house at all.
Can you prove that?
Over to hell, you? You got no right to come in here and ask a lot of questions.
She's right. You haven't got any right to do that. Maybe you pull us in and get out of here.
All right, Harper. We're getting ready to leave anyway. We'll see you later. Yeah, let's go, Frank.
Right.
We better call the office and have the house staked. Soon as Ms. Wagner feels better, we'll have her see if she can make an identification here, huh? I don't think that'll be too hard, Joe. Found that bill from the gas company on a table in there. Yeah? House in Pasadena. Harper's mugshot had been pulled and sent to the Wagner home for identification. Mrs. Wagner was still under sedative. 7:15 p.m. Frank and I drove out to Pasadena. We got in touch with the police department out there, and 2 officers were assigned to accompany us to the address on the gas bill. The house was unoccupied, and there were advertising papers strewn all about on the lawn. With the officers, we entered the house and went through it. In some of the rooms, there were pieces of furniture, and in the living room of the house, we found a mantel clock that chimed on the quarter hour. On an end table, we found a ball of white string. It looked like the same type that had been used to mark the meeting place up on Deer Canyon Drive. In one of the back bedrooms, we found clean feeds scattered around on the floor. A stakeout was arranged on the house. We contacted the men watching the Harper residence and found that the suspects were still there. 9:56 p.m. Frank and I arrived back at the Harper home in Hollywood. The lights were out and the house was dark. Frank went around to the back of the house.
Yeah? What do you want this time of the night? Did you guys ever give up?
All right, Harper, let's get dressed. We want to talk to you downtown.
You kind of pinch to me?
You called it.
For what?
Kidnapping.
You're out of your mind.
Come on, get dressed.
Who is it, honey?
Cops say we kidnapped somebody.
What?
Plus, there's an idea we kidnapped somebody.
You're kidding.
Straight not, Miss Harper. You better get dressed, too. Anybody else in the house?
Yeah, we take in board.
Let's get smart. Where's that door go?
Bedroom.
Is the one bedroom here?
That's right. We're roughing it.
Is the kitchen over here?
Yeah.
All right, come on. How about the bath?
In there.
All right, we'll all go. Come on. All right. Go back to the kitchen. This door go out the backyard?
You're a cop. You figure it out.
Okay, Frank.
Everything all right there, Joe?
Yeah, fine.
You ain't kidding about the kidnap thing, are you?
No, let's go.
What makes you figure it might be us?
You got a house in Pasadena?
Why do you ask that?
Have you got one?
No.
You're lying. Property records in Pasadena say you have. We checked the house. Matches the one we're looking for.
All right?
That's right. We got the woman you kidnapped. She's identified your picture, you and your wife.
She couldn't identify me. I ain't got a record.
You ain't taking me no place.
Frank, get on the way. Hold it. Hold it right there. All right, come on. On your feet. Okay. You clean. Hands behind you.
I told you what had happened. I told you we should let her go right away. I told you.
Oh, shut up.
You and your bright ideas. 10 grand easy. You and your bright ideas. Well, look what I got it.
Look, Buster, you didn't yell when you started getting your hot little hands on that dough. You were all for it then. Well, we lost. What do you want me to do about it? Break down and ball?
Should have known from the beginning. I had nothing but trouble with you from the start. Always wanting something easy. Always wanting big money. Never satisfied.
That's the trouble with kids. Bad losers. Great winners, but bad losers. Well, you're a big boy now. You lost. That's all there is to it. Stop whining.
Easy for you to say. If you get through with me, I'll be in for life. You got no record.
She has now. Let's go.
The story you have just heard was true. The names were changed to protect the innocent. On November 10th, trial was held in Department 98, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. In a moment, the results of that trial. Thomas Fenton Harper was tried and found guilty of kidnapping. He was sentenced to life imprisonment in the state penitentiary, Folsom, California, without possibility of parole. His wife, Alice Mabel Harper, received a life sentence and is now in the California Institution for Women, Corona, California. Just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files.
Sound off for Chesterfield. Chesterfield, the only cigarette in America to give you premium quality in both regular and king size, brings you Dragnet.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to narcotics detail. A steady flow of heroin has been making its way into your city. Most of it has fallen into the hands of teenagers. You don't know the source or the head man of the operation. Your job, stop it. The modern way to sell cigarettes is the Chesterfield way. Premium quality in both regular and king size. And we're the only one that gives it to you.
Premium quality in a cigarette means the world's best tobaccos, the best ingredients, the best cigarette paper. Only Chesterfield gives you this premium quality in both popular sizes.
King size Chesterfield contains tobaccos of better quality and higher price than any other king size cigarette. Well, that's certainly important to every king size smoker. Of course, it's the same fine tobacco as in regular Chesterfield. There is absolutely no difference, except that king-size Chesterfield gives you more than a fifth longer smoke.
Yes, the modern way to sell cigarettes is the Chesterfield way. Premium quality, both regular and king-size.
Chesterfield is much milder. Chesterfield is best for you.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, April 6th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of narcotics detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Kearney. My name's Friday. I'd just gotten off work, and I'd gotten a call from a friend who wanted to see me. It was 5:46 p.m. when I got to my apartment house. Apartment 12.
Hi, Joe.
Oh, Ed. Just getting ready to go in. Come on in.
Caught you.
Go ahead.
Thanks.
Sit down.
You got a date or something?
No, it's all right. I just thought I'd get something to eat and then maybe take in the show. What'd you want to see me about?
It's about Gary, Joe.
Your boy?
Yeah, I don't know quite how to say it.
Yeah, well, you sounded pretty upset on the phone, Ed.
I was, Joe. I still am. I don't know what I'm going to do.
Well, come on. What's it all about?
It was all I could do to keep my hands off him. I never felt like that with anybody before, but I did with Gary. I wanted to strangle him.
All right, now, what's he done, Ed?
He's a dope addict, Joe.
Well, that's a pretty serious thing to say, Ed. Are you sure about that?
I am now. First, I couldn't believe it, but tonight Helen and I went through his room. We found this. Here.
Uh-huh.
Open it. See?
Yeah. Looks like a layout.
I couldn't find any drugs in it. I know that he's using them, though.
Spoon, eyedropper, needle. Yeah, everything's here. Where'd you find this, Ed?
In his room. Had it hidden up on the shelf in his closet. I found it tonight. I didn't know what to do, Joe. Helen's been crying all day. She's almost out of her mind. You were the only one I could think of coming to. Who do you talk to when you find out your son's an addict?
Well, now, Ed, are you sure this is his in the first place, that he's been using it?
Yeah, I'm sure. I never would have believed it. Not Gary. There's no reason for it. We've given the kid everything he wanted. There's nothing he didn't have. Good home. Helen and I have always tried to understand his problems. Always looked at them like they were important. Everything. We gave him everything. Now this. I don't know what to do, Joe. I got no place to turn. There's nothing I can do. Maybe you can figure a way. Maybe you can't. I don't much care anymore. I just know that I can't see him again. Not for a while. I'm afraid, Joe. I'm real afraid.
All right, now, let's take it easy, Ed. We'll work this out some way.
You don't know what it's like, Joe. You can't. To feel like this and to know you'll do it.
What?
I see him again, Joe. I'm going to kill him.
I'd known Ed Field for the past 7 years. I'd met him when we were conducting an investigation while I was assigned to Bunko Division. His testimony had been instrumental in breaking up a gang of shoplifters. Since then, we'd become very good friends. He lived just down the street from my apartment, and on occasion we got together for an evening. I knew his wife, and I'd met his 18-year-old son, Gary. The boy was a senior in high school, and as Ed had told me many times, his grades were well above average. The Field family was moderately well-to-do. Their home wasn't luxurious, but it was good-sized. To look at the boy, there was nothing that would cause anybody to think that he might be a user. 6:12 p.m. Field and I arrived at his home. Helen Field was waiting for us. She was a nice-looking woman in her early 40s. She led us in the house and showed us to the living room. It was obvious that she'd been crying.
I don't know how to thank you for coming over, Joe. I guess Ed told you what it's all about.
Yes, Helen, he did.
Gary home yet?
No, I haven't heard a word from him since he left.
I didn't tell Joe what happened this afternoon. Thought it'd be better if he got it from you.
Oh, all right. You want to sit down, Joe?
Sure.
I'll tell you.
Thank you.
Well, Gary came home this afternoon about 2:30. Walked into the house and went right to his room. He didn't say a thing to me. First, I thought that maybe he might be sick. I went to the room and he'd locked the door. I knocked, asked him if he was all right.
Yeah.
He called through the door that he was okay and for me to leave him alone. I asked him if there was anything I could do. You know, if he was sick, he might need something.
I understand. What did he say?
Told me to get away. To leave him alone and get off his back. Those were his exact words. Leave him alone and get off his back.
Mm-hmm.
About 20 minutes later, he unlocked the door and came out. He seemed to feel fine. He came over and kissed me and said he was sorry about what he'd said. Said that he hadn't been feeling well and that he'd said those things without meaning them. I told him that he ought to wait until I could take his temperature. He said there was nothing wrong for me to get out of his way, that he had some business to take care of and be home for dinner. I tried to stop him from leaving, and he pushed me aside. He knocked me down.
Get my hands on him. I'll teach him.
He stood there for a minute, and I thought he was going to cry. But he just turned around and walked out.
Well, you any idea where he might have gone? What this business was that he was going to take care of?
No, not the slightest idea.
You can see what we're up against, Joe. I'm afraid to even see the boy.
Yeah. When did you first figure that he might be using narcotics?
When I came home, Helen told me what had happened. I thought about what would make the kid do a thing like this. The more I thought about it, the more there had to be only one reason. That's when Helen and I went through his room and found that kit.
Has the boy been ill at all lately? Under a doctor's care? Something that you might not know about?
No. I'm sure that if he was, we'd know about it.
I want to see you, Gary.
Yeah, I'll be right with you.
I want to see you right now.
You'll have to wait.
Maybe there's something wrong with your ears, son. I'm not going to take that from you.
Please, Ed, don't do something you're going to regret.
Now, listen, Helen, that boy's 18 years old. For all that time, we've done everything we could for him. We've given him a lot more than most boys his age have. I'm not going to stand by and see it all blow up just because he's a kid. That's no excuse. I want an answer for all this. What he's been doing, what happened this afternoon. I want those answers, and I want them now.
Remember, he's only a boy.
And I'm getting sick of that, too.
Where is it?
Now, listen, boy, I know what's been going on. I want to talk to you about it.
I don't want you to lecture me. All I want to know is where's the kit.
Take it easy, son.
What are you doing here?
I asked him to come over.
You didn't turn me in, huh?
Your dad asked me to come over to see if I could help here.
I don't need nothing from you, cop. I want the layout. Where is it?
You aren't going to use that anymore.
I want the layout. I gotta have it. Where is it?
Please, Gary, don't get your father any more mad than he is.
I don't care how sore he is or how sore he gets. I want the layout. I want it now. I can't think of any more simple way to say it. If I have to take it away from you, then I'll do it your way.
You lousy bum. I'll teach you to talk to me.
All right, take it easy, Ed. This isn't going to get you anywhere. Now, come on, settle down, both of you.
Get out of here. Get him out of here. Joe, I swear I'll break him in two.
Please, Ed, Joe, do something.
Let him go. Let him go. It's about time he found out I'm old enough to call things my way. Go on, let him go. I'm not afraid of him. I'm not afraid of you either, cop. I'm not worried about anybody. All I want is that kit. I gotta have it. I got it. I'll give it to me and we can talk then. I gotta have it fixed. I got it.
Joe, do something, please.
All right, come on, sit down. Sit down, boy. This has gone far enough here. Now, let's get a few things straight. You're not going to have any more of that. We'll see that a doctor looks at you. He'll do what he can, but you've had it. No more narcotics for you, and I'll face it. You want me to tell you where you stand? You're a user. Any way you slice it, this had to happen.
I don't want anything from you. Why don't you just leave me alone?
I can't do that. Let me see your arm. Come on, roll up your sleeve.
Do what he says, Gary.
Yeah. Both arms, huh?
I'd take a joy pop once in a
Now,
while.
don't con me, Gary. You got it bad, and it's going to get worse. You didn't get that arm from chipping with the stuff, the kit we found. You don't need to lay out that big to joy pop. You've been mainlining it for quite a while. I know it, and so do you. You holding now? Come on, boy, answer me. You holding now?
Yeah?
Well, let's have it.
I'm not going to give it to you.
You got no choice, son. Either you give it to me or I'll take it.
All right, here it is.
How big a habit you got?
Not big.
How big?
Couple of bucks.
Now, come on, boy. Let's have a straight answer.
25 a day.
$25 a day. That's a lot of narcotics, isn't it?
That's what it takes.
Where's it come from? Come on. Who's your connection?
You maybe got me, but I'm not going to be a fink. You got to let me go at that.
I can't do that. Now, where'd you get this stuff?
How about that doctor? You going to do something about
We'll
that?
talk to him.
Talking to him ain't going to do any good. I got to have a fix. I'm going to fall apart. Come on now, be a pal. Let me have a fix. I'll tell you all about it then. You got the kit. You got the stuff. Come on, be a sport.
No
huh?
go. You can't do it. Come on, let's go downtown.
You're going to take him to jail, Joe?
I'll take him down to Georgia Street Receiving Hospital. The doctor can look at him there. We're going to have to hold him for a while in this field.
Why'd you do it, Gary? Why? Can't you tell me? Is it something your father and I have done? There's got to be a reason. What is it? Oh, please, Gary, tell me.
Come on, let's get out of here.
Can we see him after he gets there, Joe?
Yeah, I'll call you, Ed.
Don't you want to say goodbye to your mother, son?
Why? It wouldn't prove anything.
Yeah, I guess that's the way you'd look at it.
I broke the law. Now they're going to make a convict out of me. I didn't call him. You did. How are you going to explain that to her? You turn your own son in. How are you going to tell her about it? I hope you're real happy now.
I'm not proud of it, son. There's one thing I'd like to ask.
Yeah?
What have you done to her?
8:30 p.m. I called Frank Smith and filled him in on what had happened. He said that he'd meet me at Georgia Street Receiving Hospital. I took young Gary Field down with me and had a doctor check him over. After that, the boy was taken to the narcotics division, and Frank and I talked to him.
I don't know how to tell you any better. Isn't any other way to say it. I'm not going to give you any names.
That's not going to help you any, son.
So it won't help me. It won't get any of my friends in trouble.
Well, you've got great friends, haven't you? Now, where'd you get the money to take care of your habit?
I earned it.
Where?
I worked.
Where'd you work?
Look, it's getting late. That stuff the doctor gave me didn't do any good. I still need a fix. Now, I'm getting sick. Do what you got to do. Let's get this over with.
Now, look, this is going to be the same in the morning, son. We're going to keep asking questions till you come up with the right answers.
Look, cop, I don't want any favors from you. Now, leave me alone.
We're only trying to help you, boy.
Oh, get off my side. Now, I need nothing from you. You saw your duty and you did it. That makes you a big man, huh? I know you'll both make lieutenant. Now, beat it,
All
huh?
right, that's enough of that. Now, there's a couple of things we'd like to set you straight on. Maybe help you to figure where you stand in this.
Oh, here it comes. What do? Give you a license to preach when they hand you the badge?
That's enough of that, youngster.
Come on, get off my back, cop. If my old man hadn't turned thick, you'd never have got me.
Where you going?
I'm getting out of
now,
here.
sit down. Sit down. All right, young fella, you want to be a big man, that's the way it's going to be. I'm going to tell you that you get no special treatment here because I know your parents. You'll be treated just like any other user. You're getting a little of the edge because you're a youngster. There's not a pound of honesty or integrity in your distorted mind. The simple way would be to drop you in a cell and let you sweat out the cure, let you fall apart if you had to. Let me tell you this. We're going to get the connection that's been supplying you, and then we're going to get the man behind him. I don't much care about them, but I do care about the kids around you. You've got a big habit. It takes a lot of money to keep up a habit like that. I've seen kids like you before, and there's only so many ways to get that money. You steal it or you start pushing narcotics yourself. I don't think you're stealing, so you got to be pushing it. That means that you probably got other kids hooked on it. Other youngsters that have got trouble because of you. Mules that are dragging your wagon for you. Your folks will maybe forgive you for what you've done to them, but they'll never be able to buy what you did to the other kids. You had a chance to help yourself and help the rest of them. You had a chance to do something good for somebody else, and you wouldn't take it. Well, you're playing it smart, big boy. Keep playing it that way when you end up in a jail cell, will you?
You through, cop?
Yeah, I'm through.
Fine. Let me get some sleep, huh?
Let's go, Frank.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action.
Friends, you'll remember some months ago we read you our first report, the 6 months report on the effects of smoking. Then more recently, we read you the 8 months report. Now, here is the latest one. The full 10 months report confirms again.
The group examined showed no adverse effects on the nose, throat, and sinuses from smoking Chesterfields.
This from a medical specialist who is making regular bi-monthly examinations of a group of people from various walks of life. 45% of them have smoked Chesterfield for an average of over 10 years.
After 10 full months, the specialist reports he observed no adverse effects on the nose, throat, and sinuses of the group from smoking Chesterfield.
That's the report. Buy much milder Chesterfield, regular or king size. The cigarette that's best for you.
Gary Field was taken to the main jail and booked. Frank and I went back to the office to fill out the arrest reports. The next day, Wednesday, April 7th, we began to talk to Gary's friends and teachers. From all of them, we got the same story. Until 6 months before, the boy had been a model student. He was always at the top scholastically in each of his classes. He was a member of several honorary student organizations and had twice been nominated for president of his class. Then, apparently without reason, the boy's personality had changed. He stopped taking an interest in his schoolwork. Several of his teachers told us that he wouldn't have gotten passing grades at the end of the semester. He dropped out of the service organizations at school. From some of his teachers, we got the names of his close friends. Talks with them netted us little. They told us that Gary had dropped out of the crowd of youngsters that he'd been running with and had taken up with new friends. They told us that they didn't see much of him after school, that he'd gotten into fights with other students on several occasions, and that after a period of time, they'd stopped asking him to their functions. None of them were able to give us the names of his new friends. We checked with the neighborhood merchants. Most of them knew Gary. They said that he'd worked for them after school, but they hadn't seen him for several months. We asked them if they could help us locate his friends. They told us that they had seen him in the company of one particular man on several occasions, but they couldn't identify him for us. We got a description of the man, but it meant nothing to us or to the other members of the narcotics division. Photographs of known narcotics suspects were shown to the parents of Gary Field and to the storekeepers around the school. They couldn't identify any of them. 2 days passed. Friday, April 8th. We got a call from the field boy. Frank and I went over to see him.
What'd you want to see us about, Gary?
I wanted to tell you I've had it.
What's that mean?
I don't want to tell you about it.
What's the matter? You been sick?
A little. That's not why I called you, though. They treated me all right here, but I got to thinking.
All right, go ahead.
You used to read in the papers where the kids would turn themselves in or get caught and cop out. All about how they realized what they'd done. Always seemed like a lot of phony sob sister stuff. I know different now. I know what I've done. I know I got to stand for it. I'm not asking any favors because I know that I've done nothing to call for 'em. I'm not trying to be a hero or a martyr. I just want to help get this thing cleaned up.
One thing I'd like to know, Gary.
What's that?
What made you get started on this stuff? You seem like a kid that has everything you want. You don't look like a kid who'd fall for it.
Who knows? I'd give you 1,000 reasons. They still wouldn't add. I guess I just wanted to be top man all the way around.
How'd you get on it?
Started lushing it up, then the tea, then the heroin. That's the way it runs, isn't it?
Most of the time.
I didn't figure I'd ever be hooked. Thought it couldn't happen to me. How wrong you can be.
How long you had the big habit?
About 6 months. Chippied with it about the same time before then.
Where'd you get the money?
Yeah, guess we had to get to that, huh?
That's right. Where'd you get it?
Well, I got some kids pushing this stuff for me. Worked for a while. Wasn't enough. By that time, the kids were hooked themselves. I was the only connection they had. They had to do business with me or do without it.
Yeah?
I told them that if they couldn't pay me in cash, I'd take merchandise. They'd bring it. I'd sell it. That way we both came out all right. They got their H, I got mine.
You mean you got them to steal, that it?
Yeah, I guess so. I never asked where they got the stuff. I just took it and sold it. With that and the stuff they sold for me, I made out.
These kids pushing H for you?
No. Well, they're shoving tea. I sell it to them for 4 bits a stick. They get up to $1.50 for it.
You know where they peddle it?
No, I never asked. All I was interested in was if I got mine.
All right, give us their names, will you?
Guess that's the only way, huh?
That's the only way.
Okay, I'll give them to you.
How about your connection? Who's he?
Guy named Jack?
Jack who?
I don't know, honest. I really don't.
Where'd you meet him?
Drive-in downtown.
Where?
Drive-in at the corner of Reno and Vernon.
How do you set up the meet?
I just go in there between 10 and midnight, park the car and order coffee. He comes over to the car.
You mean that he's always there at that time, huh?
Usually is.
So your only source?
Yeah.
Anyone else pushing it around there?
No, as far as I know. I think he's the only one in the operation.
All right, you'd be willing to arrange a meet with him so we can pick him up?
Yeah, I'll do it.
All right, fine.
Sure want to see the folks. I got so much to make up for.
That's right, you have.
Don't think I'll live long enough to do it all.
9:32 a.m. We got a description of the suspect known as Jack and also the names and addresses of the teenagers involved. Frank and I contacted the juvenile authorities and gave them the information. We went back to our office and had Gary Field check our files of known narcotic suspects. He was unable to give us an identification on Jack. 11:56 a.m. We took the boy to his home and talked with his parents. 12:30 p.m. Frank, Gary Field, and I drove to the corner of Vernon and Reno to check over the drive-in restaurant. It was set up in the usual way with a parking area around the main building for car service. In the rear of the lot was a building housing a cocktail bar, and there were parking spaces in front of that for the bar customers. As we drove past the place, Gary told us that he usually parked around the side of the main building and that this Jack came from the direction of the bar. He was unable to tell us whether the suspect drove a car or not. The plan was for Gary to introduce me as a narcotics buyer who was trying to get a local connection. It was agreed that because of the size of the buy I was to make, it would be necessary for me to deal with the head of the organization. 11:05 p.m., Gary and I got into my car and we drove to the drive-in. Frank followed us in a police unit. We arrived at the meet at 11:14 p.m. Frank stayed in the background and we waited. The suspect failed to make an appearance. The next night, the plan was repeated. Again, nothing. Sunday, April 10th, 10:05 p.m. We arrived at the drive-in. We waited. 11:05 p.m., 11:15, 11:30. No sign of the suspect. Midnight, 12:04 p.m.
Looks like he isn't going to be here.
Thought you said he usually showed up, didn't you?
I don't know what happened. He was always here before.
You sure you got the right drive-in?
Look, Mr. Friday, I know what you're thinking, but I'm telling the truth.
Yeah, you know all this is kind of tough to buy, don't you? 3 nights and he isn't here.
I don't understand. He was always here before. Wait a minute.
Yeah?
Hold it. Yeah, that's him, coming over from the bar.
All right, which one? There's a couple of people coming out there.
The big one. See, in the gray suit, the hat?
Yeah. You sure that's this Jack?
Positive, Mr. Friday.
All right, now you look. You know what you're going to do. Don't let on that anything's wrong here. Remember that nothing's going to happen to you.
I'll remember.
All right, now hold it. He's coming over.
Hi, kid.
Hi, Jack. Been looking for you. Where you been?
All right. Who's a friend?
Oh, yeah, I want to talk to you about him. Wants to do business with you.
What are you talking about? What business?
Look, Jack, he's all right. I know it. Think I'd have brought him here if I didn't know it?
Oh, he's all right. He's a friend of yours. You know the bit, any friend of yours. I don't know what to talk about business is. I don't know what you're doing here, but I'm here for a cup of coffee.
Better let me talk to him alone.
What are you trying to prove, bringing the guy here? Who is he?
Friend of mine.
Told you once, I told you 1,000 times. Don't ever bring nobody with you, haven't I told you, huh?
Oh, yeah, but he's okay. He wants to make a buy, a big one.
Crazy kid, you told him about it?
Look, he's okay. I know it. Look, Jack, we both stand to do all right from this. I kind of figured if he bought from you, you might give me a little piece of it. You know, sort of say thanks for the business.
How long you known this guy?
Long time.
How long?
A couple of years.
How come I never seen him before?
He doesn't hang around this part of town.
What's he doing here now?
Like I said, trying to make a buy.
Where'd you meet him?
Before I met you, I used to buy stuff from him. He moved out of town, went up north, does business up there. Last couple of days, I couldn't get in touch with you. I ran into him. He fixed me up. And then he told me he wanted to buy. Right away, I thought of you.
All right, I'll talk to him. But I ain't making no deal.
You just talk to him. You'll find out everything's okay.
All right. You let me do the talking.
Joe, this is Jack, the fellow I was telling you about.
Hi.
Hi. Kidder tells me you're down on business, is that right?
Yeah, I'm looking around.
It's a nice place, L.A. A lot of business to do here. What line you?
Whatever pays me.
Where you from?
Up north.
Mm-hmm. How long you known Gary here?
Now, you listen to me. I haven't got all night to stand around here and guzzle his stale coffee with you. The kid told you what I want. Now, it boils down to one simple question. You want to do business or don't you?
Going kind of fast, aren't you?
I haven't got a lot of time.
I don't like to deal that way.
All right, kid, let's get out of here. Should have known better than to figure on dealing with a small-time operator. I told you that before.
What do you mean by that?
You read it any way you want. Well, let's go, son. See you around, mister.
Hey, hold on. No need to get sore about it. Just have to be careful. You know how it is.
Now, you listen. I was shoving horse when you were playing with marbles. I've outgrown the kid games. I thought I could make a buy. I see I was wrong.
Maybe not.
What?
I said maybe we could do business.
I gotta have it tonight.
How much you need?
I need an ounce. It's gotta be good.
Mm-hmm. I haven't got that much with me.
How much have you got?
I only got 12 bindles with me.
How much?
You gotta understand, this is good stuff.
How much?
Now, look, this is better than you can find any place else.
All right, let's quit playing, huh? What's the tab on it?
$10 a bundle.
All right, I'll take the 12. How soon can you have the rest of it?
When do you want it?
I told you I was in a hurry. Don't you hear good?
Yeah, maybe tomorrow night.
All right, that'll have to do. If it's good quality, I may want some more. How much can you supply?
How much do you need?
Oh, I'll go maybe another ounce.
Mm-hmm. You got the cash for this?
I don't do business any other way.
Uh-huh. Wait here, I'll be back.
It's all right, isn't it, Mr. Frank?
Yeah, Gary, everything's fine.
You see where he's going?
No, it's too dark. Don't you worry about it. Frank will see where he goes.
I'll be glad when this is over.
Right, hold it.
Okay, mister, let's see the money.
I got it right here. Let's see the horse.
You got it?
All right, looks all right. Here.
You don't mind if I count this?
No, go right ahead. It's all there. $120, isn't that what you said?
Just to make sure.
Yeah.
50, 70, 90, 110, 120. Yeah, right. It's all here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll see you tomorrow night, huh?
Yeah, sure.
I want to tell you, it's nice to do business with you. It's been a real pleasure,
Well, it works both ways, mister.
Mm-hmm. Well, I hope to see a lot more of you.
You will. You're under arrest.
The story you have just heard was true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On July 29th, trial was held in Department 89, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. In 1952, American smokers bought more Chesterfields than ever before in the history of the industry. Today, sales continue to mount for two big reasons. Chesterfield is the first and only cigarette to give you premium quality in both regular and king size. Only Chesterfield gives you this scientific evidence on the effects of smoking. As we told you earlier, after 10 months, the group examined showed no adverse effects on the nose, throat, and sinuses from smoking Chesterfields. Change to Chesterfield yourself. Regular or king size. Chesterfield is much milder. Chesterfield is best for you.
Gary Richard Field, because of his cooperation, was placed in a hospital for rehabilitation and at the conclusion of his treatment was placed on 3 years probation. The other juveniles involved were handled through the juvenile court and received sentences comparable with his. Jack Alexander Williams was tried and found guilty of violation of the State Narcotic Act, a felony, and was sentenced to the state penitentiary for the term as prescribed by law. Violation of the State Narcotic Act, a felony, is punishable by imprisonment for a period of not more than 6 years in a state prison. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors, Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Frazier. Heard tonight were Ben Alexander, Harry Bartell, Virginia Gregg, Eddie Firestone. Script by John Robinson. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
For a million laughs, tune in Chesterfield's Martin and Lewis show Tuesday night on this same NBC station. And sound off for Chesterfield, either regular or king size. You'll find premium quality Chesterfields much milder. Chesterfield is best for you.
Chesterfield has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Tonight, it's Adventure with Barry Craig, confidential investigator on NBC.